Hey friends, it's me, Curtis. Welcome to the show. Today's show, I still got Julie in the background, the big bird. Today's show, it's fun. It's day two of my 3 or 4 shows of featuring pasta sauces with mushrooms. Got some incredible mushrooms. You'll see those on the show. And then we're going to do a blast from the past back to not this start of this year's football season, but the previous year's football season when the University of Georgia was taking on Oregon and talk about that a bit because we are winding down the year. In fact, this is show 52, and I've still got 3 or 4 weeks left to go in the month. So, in the year, I'm sorry. So, I'm not sure how I miscounted. We're going to get close to 55 shows in a 52-week year. Wow. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the show. Remember, as always, spread love. Welcome back to the kitchen. Day two of 3 days of making pasta sauces featuring those gorgeous mushrooms that we picked up at the local market. You saw me a little earlier chopping the mushrooms. I got everything ready. And this sauce is ready. It's the mushroom and tomato based sauce. As it's cooking, I'm going to go out to the garden and pull some oregano. I think I have some oregano out in the garden. If I don't, I've got some dry oregano that I'll add to it. What this sauce consists of is we're going to start with by heating the pan, and we're going to add some butter like we did yesterday. Whoops, butter's a little hard. And again, we're going to add the olive oil just to help to raise that smoking point. And for those of you who don't know, smoking point is the temperature at which the oil starts to what? Smoke. That's smoking point. Now, butter has a relatively low smoking point, and oils are relatively high, above 350, some as high as 450, according to which oils you're using. Some of the higher olive cooking oils would be like the peanut oil, any of the nut oils. Avocado oil has a relatively high smoking point as well. So it's going to melt the butter, and I'm going to attempt to make kind of a red gravy, a red-eyed gravy as we call it down the south, with mushrooms. There's going to be no meat in this sauce again today. I went ahead and combined the onions and the garlic just to get them off the board. I wanted to take them off that cutting board because I had those tomatoes that you saw me chop earlier, and I wanted to get those clear of the board so that the flavors wouldn't blend too soon. Okay, the pan should be nice and hot. I love the sizzle part. There, we got it, baby. Yeah. And again, I've got my utensils out here to work with, and I'm going to try very hard today to not block our shots. In other words, I'm going to stay clear. I'm going to let these onions cook about 3 minutes. I want them to just flavor the bottom of the pan. I need to get a lid for this, so don't you go away. Have a lid. Too small. All that noise making, I got the wrong size lid. Oh, that garlic and onion smells so good in the kitchen. Man, I'm tearing up stuff. Lisa's going to be so mad at me. All right, until she tastes what we've got going. Oh, look at that. Woo. Now let's just lower this down just a little bit because it's nice and hot there. I'm going to add a little more butter to this pan. Along with some more oil. And now let's add our mushrooms. And just like yesterday, I want to add these beautiful, the snow puff, the giant snowball last. They're the most delicate. I'm going to put those off to the side. We're going to add our shiitake, the giant trumpet, and the oyster mushroom right here. Then I'm going to place a lid on the pan and just allow it to cook down. Remember, once we place that lid on, it helps to sweat that produce. It helps to bring the liquids out of it. So that's sweating the vegetables. I'm going to let that cook for about 2 minutes, okay? And in the meantime, I'm going to go out and see if I can have some oregano in the garden. And if I don't have oregano, I'll use the dry oregano, okay? Peace. We're back. Didn't have any oregano out in the garden, so I've got some dry oregano from the stovetop. And you see all that liquid that come out? We want to keep that in there because all of that is flavor. Now, I'm going to lower this flame while I show you something else here. We're going to make a well in the middle of our mushrooms and onion garlic combination. And let's add our peeled and diced tomatoes. You see all that liquid, the juice in the bottom there? I'm going to pour that right in and add the lid back. Now this is a great time to add the oregano, the dry oregano in particular, because it needs time to rehydrate. So I'm going to add quite a bit. Oregano, any dishes that you're using tomato, oregano is fabulous with it. Oregano, any of those, remember, from the mint family, marjoram, all those things are great with tomato type dishes. Let's raise this heat back up because I want that flavor to be released from those tomatoes, okay? Let that cook for a bit. And again, we don't have any meat in this, so I don't have any meat fat to make my gravy. So we're going to kind of create the gravy with the butter and the olive oil, okay? So just give it a second or so to get nice and hot and release the juices. I didn't show you earlier. I've got about 3 tablespoons of flour. May not use all of it. And I also have about a tablespoon of sugar. Sugar, you say? Well, remember, when we're marrying these flavors, we got the mushrooms and we got the acid in the tomatoes. So you want to cut that acid. And one of the best ways to cut that acid is with sugar. So like if you're making a dressing, a vinaigrette dressing, always add a little bit of sweetener to it to kind of cut down that vinegar, just kind of the chemistry of cooking, All right, so let's see how our tomatoes are coming along. And behind me, I've got the rigatoni. It's done. Again, I like my pasta cooked well past al dente. So you're going to see my pasta, my rigatoni is kind of fat because it's cooked longer. Now, again, sweating that. Look at the liquid in the bottom of that pan. I want all that gorgeous liquid. So what we're going to do here is start to make our our gravy. Oops. You know what I've got to get? I have to get some broth. I want some vegetable broth to give us more liquid in here. So, okay, well, let me get the vegetable broth out of the fridge, and we'll be back to continue our sauce. Back in the kitchen here with me, Curtis G. Here we are back in the kitchen. Let's go ahead and get this sauce kicking it up now. Remember, we leave that lid on because we want to trap all that moisture. Can you see all that beautiful juices in the bottom there? So what we're going to do is start to make our gravy, right? I got to lower this here because I don't want to burn it. I want to keep that nice and simmering nicely. Again, I'm going to make my well in the middle. I'm going to add some butter. Then we're going to make a gravy, a roux right in the middle. I've got the vegetable broth ready to go. Okay. Now on top of that, we're going to add that flour. There's our vegetable broth. Take a look at that. And if you want, you can use chicken broth or any broth that you like. I just love vegetable broth because it does not overpower the dish. Okay, sprinkle a little flour in there. We'll turn the flame back up a bit. We're just going to cook that. Not too much, okay? So add a little bit of our broth. Now this is what's going to really help to thicken this sauce up. Now you see how that's. And we're just going to add more broth and stir, stir, stir. There we go. You could also use cornstarch or the potato starch. Pasta starch. Look at that, look at that. It's coming together, y'all. I'm going to add a little bit of milk. Can you smell it, baby? Mm-hmm. How does it smell?
Delicious.
Did you like that last night?
Loved it. Best pasta ever.
I like hearing that. I'm going to add a little of my tomato paste here. And I really love that Italian tomato paste. I'm going to squeeze about a good teaspoon and a half in there. This is truly cooking for 1 or 2. Me and you, love. Look at that. Oh. I'm going to add my snow puff mushrooms now. Snowball. A little red sauce there. There was a restaurant I used to go to years ago in Honolulu that made, it was an Italian restaurant up near Punch Bowl, I believe it was. And those of you in Hawaii, aloha. I can't remember the name of it to save my life. It was just incredible. And they made this pasta sauce that had this beautiful flavor. And look at that, almost pink like that. That's it. Except they didn't have big chunks of mushrooms like I'm doing here. It was like the sauce was pureed. I'm going to turn this flame up, add our snow puff mushrooms right in there. And we're going to turn those over in the sauce, add the last of our broth. We'll just let this cook for about 3 to 5 minutes to reduce a bit, and then we'll start to add, or to taste it, to see if we need to add how much sugar we should add. I'm going to allow this to reduce ever so slightly. Now those that snow white mushroom, the giant puff, whatever, it's got so many names. Lion's mane. It's a snowball. It's according to what part of the country you come from. The name of that soft, brainy looking mushroom is, right? I'm going to do very little cooking to it because the flavor of that is wonderful raw as well as cooked. Well, I shouldn't say raw, but it is great. Raw, slightly cooked. It's even better, I think. Look at that sauce. Ooh, can you see that, Lisa Cobb?
Ooh.
I like it. Okay, now I'm going to raise the temperature a bit. Get it bubbling, then I'm going to lower it and allow it to simmer for about 4 to 5 minutes. We are ready to serve. I'm going to add just a little sugar, just again to offset that acid in the tomatoes, okay? Oh, look at that. All right, let's give it a little, gonna give it a little taste just for checking. I've got my tasting spoon right there. That never goes into the pan. Wow, that is the bomb diggity. Don't need to add any salt, any pepper. I've got my grated Parmesan on the side to top it off with. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and lower this way down. And we're just going to add our pasta right to the container. Now I'm going to show you my rigatone because it is, like I said, I like my pasta passed al dente. See how large they are? My brother Vince might say, Curtis, you cooked that too long. And I said, Brother Vincenzo, I like my pasta passed al dente. All right, I'm going to turn this off because this is ready. The sauce, the gravy is ready. I'm going to turn everything over. Baby, you ready for dinner? All right. When we come back, I'm going to reset and we'll do a tasting. And then we will wrap this up and get ready for tomorrow's last pasta day. I mean, mushroom pasta day, okay? Peace out, everybody. Y'all, back in the kitchen with me, Curtis G. It's time for the tasting. Look at that. Oh, we've got the rigatoni and our beautiful sauce. Let's just add a little Parmesan cheese on there. Why? Because we like cheese. Whoop, a little too much. All right, now just toss it over. Drum roll, please. Thank you, honey. Fit for my queen. This is good. The mushrooms, the oregano, everything works so well there. Peace, spread love. One more mushroom day coming up. Maybe you gotta try this. I don't know, this one, I don't know which is best, the one from yesterday or this. They're both outstanding.
Are you recording still?
I'll stop it. Me, Curtis, welcome to the show. Today is September 3rd. Wow, do you believe it? How time is flying. Saturday morning, September 3rd. Georgia is playing Oregon today. University of Georgia football. Football season kicked off this week. College football. Next week will be the NFL, not for fun league. One of those coaches said that years ago. And what does NFL stand for? Not for fun league. And I always think about that quote. Again, yeah, we're here in the garden this morning. Going to do a couple of things. I shouldn't say garden. I'm in the yard, although it's brown. You know, we're having this water shortage, so I'm being very diligent and careful about where I use my water resources. The beds are, like I said, this is the first full year of working with the beds, and I'm learning. If we get a chance, I may walk through and show you, like the soil is compacting down, so I'm going to have to add more soil. And I like to buy organic bags of soil. That way I don't have to worry about pesticides and so on and so forth. I'm working with some garden projects around Marin and in Southern California. And one of the concerns is land. There were a lot of military bases, of course, as we know here in California, and some of the toxins that were left in the soil. So one of the ways to get around that is by creating raised beds. Now, I'm not saying we don't need to test that soil. We do. We need to remove as much of that as possible, all if possible, right? However, for those of you at home who may worry about that, and because, you know, whatever the food is grown in, yeah, that's the nutrients it will take in. So I do have totally organic beds, and I'm enjoying the heck out of these raised beds this year. Going to start off with my tomatoes. I showed you these a few weeks ago, that we had gone ahead and planted some seeds, and they're starting to sprout. You see that I've got 5 plants, but one looks like it's a double plant there. So I'm going to leave those two together, and then once we plant them in the garden, I will probably eliminate one. You know, so yeah, I've got some clay pots, I've got some plastic pots. I try to reuse everything I can around my house and in my garden. So, you know, a lot of times I'll take these and cut them out so that I can plant things and have that nice shape, so they grow up through that shape. So yeah, I try to use as much as possible, is what I'm trying to say. I've got my soil, I've got some water, I've got my pots, I got 3 clay pots and a couple of these other pots. So we're gonna go ahead and pot these tomatoes up, or should I say transplant. And I want them to get nice strong roots before I put them into the beds or into pots. Also today I'm going to walk you through and I'm going to show you how the other tomato plants are coming along that we transplanted about 3-4 weeks ago. I've got fruit on them already, yay! And maybe we'll get inside and do some fried tomatoes, fried green and fried ripe tomatoes. What else do I want to show you today? My citrus trees are coming along. They seem to really taken hold in these 2 spots that I put them in. I'll show you the beds where the onions have kind of, they're fully grown and they're flopping over, so I'm having to take a lot out because they can rot if we leave them in the soil too long, and we can continue to water them. Am I talking too fast today? I've had 2 incredible weeks. Last week I was down in Southern California meeting with folks at UCLA and loved it, and talked with students and the programs they got going, and I'm hoping to get a chance to work with them. This week I was up at in Sonoma, at Sonoma State, talking to a group of students by class ran by Hillary Hamzi. I hope I say that right, Hillary. She's an incredible writer. She writes children's cookbooks, and she's got this media class. And I got to tell y'all, I was with like 40, 50 young, beautiful minds, and it was just incredible to share with them what I know about this crazy media business and what they know, about the social media aspect of it. I mean, these kids, I shouldn't say kids, these young students, these young people were just incredible. By the way, Saturday morning, everyone's outside doing their yard work, so I'm gonna try to raise my volume so you can hear me over the mowers and the weed whackers and all the things that are going on, because I'm not the only one that loves Saturday mornings. I hope you do too. Okay, let's start out transplanting. And again, I've got my soil. All this is totally organic soil. I've got some of the that I bought, also some of the soil. I mix in the soil that's going to be planted to the bed, so it makes it easier for the tomato plants to transfer. They won't go through as much shock. Not sure if you can see these roots here. That's what we want. We want them to almost become root bound in the pots, so they got nice strong roots. So when we move them into the soil, there's enough root growth there, so that the plants will take in the sustenance. Oh, look at this, see? There we go. These are really good. Now they're gonna get even better when we get them out into the little pots, right? Let's go ahead, I'm breaking these up. I've got an overhead shot there. I hope I've got a good, yeah, I can see that, there we go. Look at that, one tomato there. Look at the roots on that baby. Gorgeous, huh? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is take my little clay pot here, and I've got my food safety gloves on. Also, what these are for today is to really help keep me from getting dirt under my nails, because that's one of the toughest places. That's one of the easiest when you are working with food, and you really need to clean under those nails. That's one of the big areas where a lot of people, when we talk about really scrubbing and cleaning well, you want to get those nails nice and clean. I'm going to be gentle with this while placing it in there, because I don't want to break those roots. We got this plant looking really good, so why hurt it now by beating up the root system? And it has been hot lately, so remember, when we plant them like this, we want to keep them nice and moist, keep them wet. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? And I do love my clay pots. Going to add a little agua here. Okay. The great thing about clay pots is that it drains down through. There we go. There's one for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready. Now go, cats, go. I'm rock. Don't you step on my blue suede shoes. I saw the Elvis movie. We got it a couple of weeks ago, and I enjoyed it. I think I've shared with you all. It's a good root system too. Look at that. I think I've shared with you all how much I love music, and Elvis caught heck about some of the things that happened, and of course we don't know how true this is. I know the Presley family enjoyed the movie. However, I loved it. I mean, I truly did. I've been to Graceland about 4 or 5 times. I've been to Tupelo 3 or 4 times. I love. It's history. Whether we agree with all the things, we can't change what happened in the past. We can only learn from it, right, and move forward. Now look at that. I'm not over filling that with dirt. That's enough there. Very smaller plant. Little water. There we go. That's 2 down. Or is it 2 up? 2 up. Now look at these roots. Aren't these beautiful? And these are some of the seeds I brought back from France. These are some seeds I have from Italian tomatoes. My friends Joe Lococo and Vince Latanzio had these beautiful Italian tomatoes a couple of years ago very few seeds in them. So, those 2, that'll separate well too. Look at that. I've got, 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at that root system. Wow. And this will all pot up. This will all grow nicely. So this is February. This is September 3rd. So we're going to keep these in the pot. I'm thinking maybe 2 to 3 weeks. Okay. To see how strong the root system gets in this 2 or 3 week period. Then we'll start finding locations around the yard. I think I shared with you that I want to try to have tomatoes for a full calendar year. So what I'm going to do with these, I'm going to put them in nice large pots, and we're going to set them close to the house as we leave fall into winter, because that the heat from the house will keep them from getting too cold at night. Okay, that's going to be the key to it. I'm not going to have these out in the open. I'm going to have them up next to the house to keep them from getting frost and so on and so forth. And because we'll have enough sunshine here in California, that I'm pretty sure we're going to have tomatoes right into February and January for my birthday. Okay, now here's another one. I'm going to take this pot, because we've got, how many tomatoes we got? 1, 2. I'm going to have to find another pot, right? So I'm going to take this one. I've got soil already in there. I'm going to poke a hole down in there and see if I can get this little root system down in. Oh yeah, look at that. Can you see from the overhead shot there? Got one more. Okay. I thought I had more clay pots around this place, but I don't. There we go. Put this one in here. Oh yeah, we'll have enough pots. Okay, put that one in there. A little agua. Don't you just love Saturday mornings? What's your pastime today? What are you going to do today on this Saturday? Well, it'll be after this Saturday when you see the show. Now, I've got another one of these I'm going to take and put some soil in. One of the messages I have with the children, the students up at, I keep saying children, however they're younger than my kids, so I guess I could call them children and get away with it. However, they want to be referred to as young adults, which they are. So moms, dads, be proud of them. And these students, now look at that, that's connected to that little ball of soil, so I'm going to keep that in there. And, you know, so when I'm with the students, with the college students, we did this little, we did a, what I call, like an icebreaker. If ever you have, been to seminars of facilitation type things, right? A lot of folks would do icebreakers. And my favorite icebreaker is something I learned when I was working with the folks at Challenge Day. Although Challenge Day, I'm not sure if it's still around. I know they were having some trouble during COVID. And I call this, if you really knew, well, they call this, I'm using the, using their icebreaker, if you really knew me. And I share with the students, and it's really to get the students to, oh, there's a beautiful monarch butterfly that just flown away. Yeah, my ADD is kicking in today. If you really knew me, so you have to share from the heart. And I share with the students, if you really knew me, you would know how much I love my family. However, I didn't get to choose my family. So if you really knew me, you would know when you become my friend, you become family, because I chose to be with you and you chose to be with me. So if you really knew Curtis Aikens, whether you watch me on television or you meet me in town and we become friends, hey, friend, you're my family. All right?